You are now experiencing the digital life with Kevin Lockett.
Hey everybody, welcome to the digital life. You know, back in the day, I was a hardcore music junkie. So much so that I knew every single song on the Billboard Top 100. Well, I'm not as hardcore as I used to be when it comes to music, but I still find great joy when I use my Shazam app to find new songs and performers. Nowadays, music artists and DJs alike are effectively using digital platforms like YouTube and SoundCloud to introduce new music and build their own fan bases. On today's show, I'm talking to an artist who's expertly using YouTube and SoundCloud to spread his chill step vibe around the world. Cameron Koa is a talented singer-songwriter who will be performing at the Ballet in Cleveland Gala on March 13th. Now, what makes his appearance at the gala so special is that he will be performing with his big sister, renowned ballerina Misty Copeland, who was on a previous podcast. Now, the love of the arts seemed to run deep in their family, as Cameron is quickly carving out his own niche in the music world, just as Misty did in the world of ballet. So without further ado, here's my conversation with the multi-talented Cameron Koa. Okay, we're talking to Cameron Koa, who will be singing at the Ballet in Cleveland Gala. How are you today?
Hey, Kevin, I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me today. I'm really excited for the whole gala, the whole performance.
Yeah. So before we get into your music side, which you basically do all the time, while I was researching you, you directed and filmed and wrote a short film called Loop 6.
Yes, yeah, I did.
Yeah, so tell me how a guy who's really into music ends up directing a film.
Well, I mean, it really started just with, I have a kind of a lengthy performance background, kind of like my sister. But really my whole main goal was starting with the acting side of things. I did commercials for a while, still do. Just, I guess as an entertainer, you're always trying to, and an artist in general, you're trying to knock out all the facets possible. So it was really just an idea that started off with just a couple of friends sitting around jotting ideas down. And so we took it to the festival circuit. And it was really just a team of like 5 kids, really, and it got funded through Kickstarter, and it's still in the circuits right now. It goes through this whole green lighting process. It's about a 10-minute short film, but I'm pretty excited for it, along with all the music things as well.
Yeah, how was the Kickstarter campaign?
It worked out pretty well. So the way that the Kickstarter thing works is you basically you have to propose like a treatment or an idea, and so it was just a group of film students that I know pretty well, and we just launched a campaign about this film. And it just sort of caught onto a following. I mean, each of us individually have our own social following, like YouTube, SoundCloud, stuff like that. And I originally started on YouTube, where I would just put out, music covers and stuff, and have like a makeshift studio in my house. And so a lot of the people who were familiar with like my YouTube presence kind of followed the Kickstarter campaign as well, and kind of got that to go through. So it's just one side of the things that I do, whether it's commercials or films or music. It's a small facet, but an important one.
Speaking of your YouTube videos, I was watching your cover for Bruno Mars's Treasure, and it was really cool. Did you direct that, or because it was really really well produced? Because it looks like an actual music video. Did you do it on your own, or did you have a crew of people?
Yeah. I think when you're just starting out, you find a way to make everything work for you with as few people as possible. So really what it is, it's just shot at a school. I mean, I have had a couple of videos on YouTube, and you get really creative when you have a small team of people. And believe it or not, it's just me and one other person, just somebody holding sort of like a makeshift Steadicam vest, and they just mount the camera onto it, and we just shot it there. I mean, I'm talking like 20 minutes. And yeah, like I said, you just kind of make it work when you have so few people. And we did it just in the span of like 20 minutes, and we had like a cell phone playing the playback on there. So, but that was, man, I want to say like a year ago. I mean, just when I was really starting out, getting into the whole like film side of things and the music side of things. It gets really technical, but it's exciting.
So you're doing your thing now, but let's go back to the covers for a second. Some of the covers that you've done has been Sam Smith covers, and you've done Jamie Cullum covers. What draws you to people who are singer-songwriters?
I have to, you brought up Jamie Cullum, one of my favorites for sure. He built a great deal of his artistry on covers. I mean, he's done Rihanna covers, he's done Pharrell covers, and I think artistry is like about re-envisioning things, and I'm really interested in somebody who can take, like Jamie Cullum, for example, can take like a pop hit or something and make it into something unconventional like jazz, and that's kind of where I am in terms of like the musical side of things with covers especially. I definitely have my own idea of a sound and what it is that I want, but I look to people like Jamie Cullum who are able to reinvent something and make it their own signature song. Like he covered "Please Don't Stop the Music" by Rihanna, and the two are completely different in their sound. You wouldn't even think it's the same song, but to me that's a sign, of an artist, is someone who can take something that's already become a standard and make it into his own. And I follow kind of that footstep pretty closely. Even in his instrumentalizing of things, like the way he plays piano, definitely something that I mimic, whether it's jazz or pop or even classical.
One of the genres that I love is down-tempo and chill. And
yes.
Your style, that you called it crossover ambient chill step with R&B. What made you decide to go into that chill step type sound?
It's a great question. It's something that was rather new for me, and I realized that in finding out what it is that I wanted to do as a person who makes music, is it's not all just about the prepackaged singing. These days anybody can get in the studio and just hash out a song. But I kind of thought there's this unconventional way that I kind of think chill step and ambient music is designed, where there is no like methodology, there's no system of how it's designed, and it's at times almost all digital, and that's exactly what my interface is. I have like a MIDI keyboard, and everything that I do is via electronic. I think what really drew me to that is it gave me a little bit more flexibility by being such limited to just a one-person band, basically. And I think that's kind of like the whole essence behind something like chill step, is like you can make an entire big band sound with just you and your computer and your MIDI keyboard. But I also like the soul behind it, because the urban contemporary R&B was really reserved for originally, a lot of the soulful singers, but I kind of like the crossover between electronic and chill step, and a little bit of influences from every genre can kind of come together with this type of music, and that's definitely what I find myself drawn towards with my own music.
One of the songs that you have is called Bright Side, and it reminded me of The Weeknd. It's like it's that same type of cool vibe.
Yes, love The Weeknd. Yeah, definitely. It's interesting that's one of the artists that vocally is like, he's got that upper range, he's got that nice belty sound. That is vocally something that I try and incorporate, especially with he has multiple songs that I kind of think, like Wanderlust. These are songs that I definitely listen to, and kind of puts me in the mood for that kind of thing. There's a lot of other independent artists, like LaMarcus. That's I believe a French DJ, and some of their work is what influenced me a lot too. They have a lot of heavy keyboarding, a lot of synthesizing. It's really a computer-based sort of thing, but I definitely think it's something that should be more acknowledged in the music world, is that, being confined to a computer doesn't limit your artistry, really. So I'm pretty happy with where the music is going, at least for me right now.
Yeah, and, people need to check out your music. They can go on YouTube, but really most of the music is on SoundCloud. So how has SoundCloud played into your success as an artist?
It is extremely interactive, because I definitely am just starting out on my own right now. And I think, YouTube is great because you kind of get like the feedback from listeners. But most people who have SoundClouds, at least in my experience, they were people who, they're also musicians themselves. So that sort of feedback allows you can reblog people's music, you can comment on it, you can like it, and it's visibly seen. When one artist reblogs your stuff, it gets a bigger platform every time it's reblogged. And so I kind of think that's a little bit more useful and conducive to like my artist side of things instead of YouTube. I mean, I definitely use SoundCloud a lot more because I also get to hear other people who are putting their stuff out, and you kind of exchange and give each other a platform. It's really interactive.
And your song that you have out right now is called Halfway Home, which people can find on SoundCloud. What was the inspiration for the song?
A lot of building up to what it was that I wanted in terms of the sound. It had to not be like factory made, and I wanted it to not be like like a generic love song. And I'm not pitting anybody against each other, putting anybody down about making songs from like a typical 3-minute, 30-second love song, but I kind of wanted to take some more personal experiences from leading up to like every time I would have like a success or something, it would be followed by like a little bit of a downturn. And this is kind of me pushing aside all like the pop influences and everything and just going with what I wanted versus what I thought was going to like sell or versus what is really mainstream. Lyrically, even just the sound in general was a little bit different than what I think you would hear, on a mainstream pop radio station. Definitely influenced from my personal experiences and like the downturns that I would have.
And what's your recording setup like at home?
It's so makeshift. And the thing is, I've had the opportunity to update a lot of things, but what I like is that I started this little like in-home studio with a sheet and a closet when I was like 17, and I was able to, being 24 now, I was able to kind of upgrade my equipment a little bit, but it's still not, some big studio soundproof room with soundboards all over the place. It really is still just an updated computer, maybe an updated microphone and a couple of MIDI keyboards, but it still really is just, I keep it really simple because I feel like that's what makes the sound authentic because that's how I started. I definitely want to stay that way. And there's a lot of people who are still like that. Owl City, the lead singer from Owl City, the only singer from Owl City, as far as I know, he still does a lot of his music just on FL Studio on his laptop, and I think that's what has made his sound stay as authentic as it is, and I'm definitely like that.
What type of software do you use?
I use Pro Tools, I use FL Studio, but a lot of these programs come with generic plugins. So what I do is I do a lot of tweaking and synthesizing, and I think on the technical side of things, what people hear when you put out a track, at least for the general listener, it's your voice, the lyrics and the production sound. But I like to know that I'm involved in every step of it. And one of the biggest things about like Chill Step is they use a lot of side chaining, which is like just sort of this pulsing effect that kind of goes through the entirety of the tracks. And I learned to kind of make that my signature thing as I started to get more into the electronic side of it. I want to design my own plugins and things like that to kind of give it a more authentic sound and stick to what it is that I know I want to sound like.
Shifting gears a little bit, I took a look at your Instagram page, and you did a real cool Woman Crush Wednesday. You featured your sisters.
Yes.
I knew your one sister. We'll talk about her in a second, but you featured all your sisters, which was really nice.
Yeah, these three, Misty, Erica, and Lindsey, they definitely exemplify womanhood, and what they were mothers long before. My sister Erica and Lindsey, they're both parents. Lindsey's an expecting mom right now, and even Misty, they were mothers long before they ever had kids in their life because I was the baby brother, and they were always kind of looking out after me, sort of thing. And I definitely have to pay tribute to them because a lot of times we had parents on the go, and they were the ones who had to be the fill-in for that time being. So I definitely have a lot of love and respect for them.
And you mentioned your sister, Misty, a couple of times. For people who don't know, your sister is Misty Copeland, who's one of the most renowned ballerinas around the world. Her story is very interesting because, she just kind of stumbled into ballet. When she jumped into the arts, did that have an effect on you, or did your family already have like an artistic type background?
This is one of the, I could talk about Misty for days on end. Her platform really superseded a lot of what racial stereotypes had to stand for, not just ballet, but I think for just a lot of genres in general, is her ability to be such a crossover artist really broke down a lot of my inhibitions about what it meant to be an artist. I started playing piano at like 8 years old, and you don't hear in the media about little black kids like performing with the chamber orchestra, like classical music. When I was 12, I performed with the Calabasas Chamber Orchestra. Meanwhile, Misty was already at the Spotlight Awards, which for anybody who doesn't know is to find the best dancer in Southern California. And with I believe it was less than a year of training, she was already an elitist. She was already becoming the person who would be the first African-American ballet soloist at ABT in, I think, like 20 years. It's really amazing, and it definitely put in motion a lot of what I do. And even though I by no means am at the platform that she's at, I mean, she's legendary. They're already teaching her in books at my old university. It's that she gave me a platform where no one else probably would have paid attention, because it just isn't really conventional to have to have our upbringing and then to hear about people having this kind of platform. So she really helped me artistically, emotionally. I mean, like I said, she was the mom when our parents couldn't be there.
If Misty gave that to you, what did your other two sisters bring?
Definitely the additional love and support. I think we all had a very intrinsic work ethic. My oldest sister, Erica, I think she had to assume the role of guardian when mom wasn't there or when dad wasn't there, sort of thing. She was the caregiver. She was the one who oversaw not just the disciplinary side of things, but the nurturing things. My youngest sister, Lindsey, who, even though she's the youngest girl in the family, she's still older than me. She taught me to just laugh at everything, really. She and Misty are definitely they're best friends, and I think Misty can attest to this too, that there isn't anything that could be so bad that Lindsey couldn't laugh about. And I think in Misty's book, Life in Motion, she talks about that relationship as well. And I think that was really important to get us through definitely the tough times, which was for most of our childhood. We had a very unconventional one. So.
Right. And, the beauty of all this is that, in a few weeks in Cleveland, Ohio, you and Misty will be, maybe not performing together, but you will be together at the Ballet in Cleveland event.
Right. The first time on stage together. And for me, this is, she's so excited about it. And for me, it's big shoes to fill, because she has set a standard that worldwide people are looking at, and for her to step forward and kind of say, hey, this is my brother's stuff, and I'm really proud of him, take a look at this. I'm excited for it, definitely, but even someone like myself is in awe of what she consistently does every time. So to share that stage is really it's an honor for me, a huge honor, and I'm really happy to be doing it.
And you two never really shared a stage together, right?
Never, nope. But she was, our genres are always pretty different. I guess the opportunities had been there. Classically trained, you're probably going to be working with a ballerina at some point, but I kind of took my own path. I was a little bit more conventional and took the educational path, but stardom was really calling for Misty since she first stepped foot at the Boys and Girls Club.
So if you had a chance to craft like a piece for Misty, would it be more of a down-tempo type sound, or would it be something completely different?
Well, I can only be so lucky if she would want to collaborate on something like that. But the thing about Misty and I and our whole family is she is so good at presenting such like a poised ballerina, somebody who, the music is driven by an elite form, like a classical sound from different periods. But growing up, we were, our musical style was very much a product of our environment. A lot of hip hop, a lot of urban contemporary, Tupac, Mariah Carey. That's the stuff that we listened to, in the early '90s. So I would definitely say I would like to see her cross over into something. If I were to make something more ambient, more hip hop, more chill step, more like a combination of those genres, because I definitely know that she knows where that comes from. She knows the culture of that, and that I think she would easily be able to assimilate to that.
I think so. She's very talented. So, Have you ever been to Cleveland before? I'm not sure about this, but have you ever been to Cleveland before?
No, I haven't. And definitely, I know that it's very rich in culture and diversity. So it's something that I've been looking forward to, and I'm glad that I can finally be out there for something that I love to do.
How further east? Because you're basically in Los Angeles. I mean, have you ever gone for really far east before, or is this like, or just kind of straight? Okay.
You know, I went to Spokane, Washington. I shot an AT&T commercial over there when I was first getting started. That's not, I mean, super. I mean, basically the furthest that I had been was at the Izod Center. No, you know what? Actually, I've been further. I was at Madison Square Garden with Misty when she was performing with Prince. So, yeah, I've been out there before, and culture shock, weather shock. I mean, it was all kinds of shock. But I love it. I love it out there. I don't know if I could live there, but I definitely enjoyed the culture.
Speaking of Los Angeles, what is it like being an independent artist in L.A.?
It's like, I mean, you're a fish, a small fish in a really huge ocean. Everybody left and I mean, I live in the more like neighborhood, less industrial, less busy area of Los Angeles. I live more by the beach. And so out here you have, at least in this little faction of Los Angeles, you have people who assume more or less like, I guess, normal jobs. But just a 20-minute drive up the freeway, and suddenly everybody's a model, everybody's an actor. And, you know, it's amazing because I get to see people that I took acting classes with blowing up left and right. I mean, I went to a junior college in like the southern Los Angeles area, and one of the actors that I took a class with went on to be one of the stars in Maze Runner. And, you know, he and I briefly talk every now and then, but, I mean, they're everywhere. In L.A., you're going to run into an actor or model like every 5 seconds.
And going back to college for a second, you mentioned that, you know, your sister's being taught at universities out there. How does that feel to see, you know, it's just the person that you grew up with, and now they're teaching classes about her?
It's incredible. I mean, just at Barnes & Noble the other day, I saw for Black History Month, hers was a recommended reading. I mean, to know that there's a memoir out there that documents her life and you know, how us as a family, we were a part of it. It's kind of weird because, you know, you pick up a memoir and you read it and you think, well, this is really good. I mean, I know that this happened to somebody, but this is like as interesting as a work of dramatic fiction. But reading it, knowing that this was our life, that, you know, 1995, 96, 97, 98, these were stepping stones, these years building up to this incredible story that they're talking about. It's interesting to see it as a book, but it's even more interesting to see the cultural significance as well as the controversy that came as a result of it. And to know that I think like New Line Cinema is thinking about making it into a movie if they haven't already started. It's been pretty incredible.
Yeah. How do you see your artistry growing in the next few years?
You know, being under Misty's wing and having that guidance has not only like broke down a lot of the inhibitions I had about where I want to go in terms of performing arts, whether it's music, whether it's acting. It's I definitely see myself developing a lot more. I'm less apprehensive about things and more willing to take risks. In I believe it was 2009, Viacom, who owns MTV, did a made-for-TV film for a channel called Logo Channel. And for anybody who doesn't know, Logo Channel was one of the first cable networks to air or syndicate RuPaul's Drag Race. And so I did a film, my first movie ever, called Leave It on the Floor, and it's based off a documentary called Paris is Burning about the Black and Hispanic Vogue ball culture. And so I remember doing that film at the time when I was first starting and got a little bit of traction, how really terrifying it was to take risks and make commitments as an artist. You know, in acting you learn that whenever you look at a script or a treatment, you can't just go in head first and not really know what it is that you want. You have to commit to every single thing that you say. And I think seeing all the artistry around me and my family and definitely Misty's courage and fearlessness makes me want to be a lot more committed to what I do.
And Paris is Burning is a great documentary. If anyone's ever seen it before, is a great story, is a great time capsule type documentary. I mean, I am recommending it to anybody. Yes,
oh, absolutely. And, you know, I have my apprehensiveness about the film that I had done that was supposed to pay tribute to it. And there are a lot of shortcomings, I think, that come with the film that don't touch on what Paris is Burning. That Paris is Burning is an incredible look at why pop culture is what it is now. You have the whole Vogue movement that pioneered by Willing Ninja from Paris is Burning, but was popularized by Madonna. I think as an artist, it's kind of our job to look back at what things like Paris is Burning provided for us. And I think it really educated me on where I want to be as an artist as well.
Well, Cameron Koa, thank you for the conversation. If people need to check you out and your music, where can they go?
They can just you can go on Google, type in Cameron Koa. It'll pull up my SoundCloud, pull up my YouTube. I mean, just a quick Google search, you'll be able to find pretty much anything, all social media. It's so easy these days.
Oh, and finally, if you could just give them a one-word description for your three sisters, what would they be?
Oh, man, I would definitely say Misty was the motivator. She was the inspirer. She gave us she knew what she wanted, and she was the go-getter. I would say my sister Lindsey, the youngest sister, the sense of humor. She took us out of those several downturns in our life. I think she knew how to provide some humor for us. And my oldest sister, Erica, she was by and far the mother of the sisters in our family. She knew how to nurture. She knew how to care for us. And for that, I'm completely grateful.
Yep. They got a great brother. Well, thanks a lot, Cameron.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Take care.
I want to thank Cameron Koa for being a great guest on The Digital Life. You can check out Cameron and his sister, Misty Copeland, at the Ballet in Cleveland Gala on March 13th, 2015. Make sure to go to balletincleveland.org. That's balletincleveland.org for details. You can also download his song Halfway Home on iTunes, and be sure to check out more of his music on CameronKoaOfficial.com. That's CameronKoaOfficial.com or SoundCloud.com/Cameron_Koa. And Koa is spelled K-O-A. Before I go, I have a Twitter question for you. Tweet me at Kevin Lockett and tell me, where do you find new music? Do you listen to SiriusXM Radio, SoundCloud, YouTube, streaming services like Pandora or Spotify? Or do you go strictly old school with radio or word of mouth? Use the hashtag KLSound. That's the hashtag KLSound. And tell me, where do you find new music? All right, everybody. It's The Digital Life. I'm Kevin Lockett, and I'm out.
The Digital Life with Kevin Lockett.